Okay, well, it's a little tankier than a Grimstroke, at least. That's something a little bit different. I mean, you are able to put on a good amount of pressure onto this Spirit Breaker. That's the other thing, right? Like when I was casting,
10 seconds
or rather
remaining.
paneling for the DPC, when
Radiant
people were
team
picking
pick.
OD in
Dire
the off
team
lane,
pick.
the combo against it was Jakiro Chaos Knight, and you just ran at it and punished it quite heavily. And look at the difference there and the confidence of being able to pick up exactly what they know is going to work for you. Three identical heroes from the first game for Lilgun coming through there with the Snapfire again.
10
I mean,
seconds
the Abaddon
remaining.
is kind of another one of those heroes that's happy to run in a little bit more aggressively,
5
right? So
seconds
more and more
remaining.
space being created for the Snapfire. At least this time around, the Dark Willow early on will be wanting to terrorize in the team fights, and then once those BKBs come up online, she can terrorize wherever the Snapfire is firing the kisses from. So that's at least a long
Radiant
range
team
ray
ban.
to be able to
Lena.
disrupt that. I like the Lena as opposed to the Queen of Pain as well. Again, much more sustained damage rather than one and done burst. And I feel like you're relatively well able to um, harass out the TA a little bit better
10
than a Queen of
seconds
Pain does.
remaining.
So yeah, I like the pick overall. You are a little bit vulnerable to the
5
Spirit
seconds
Breaker, but not quite
remaining.
as much as if there would be a Grimstroke in the game, for example.
I'm I'm trying to work out if I like the Abaddon pick or not. Firstly, I think it's really good, at least with what you're able to counter in regards to Army Geniuses, with pretty much three quarters of Dark Willow's abilities are dispellable with the shield. Jakiro, if you're laning into him, is very good with the dual breath. Mars relies on locking someone down, blowing them up through that spear combo. So I think Abaddon's exceptional with that as well. But I think Lilgun, their lineup is just lacking stuns. And even though Bane, you quite often don't think of it like that. We saw Bane last game, like his Nightmare usages and his Fiend Script usages were exceptional to be able to just have a slight numbers advantage for a couple of
Dire
seconds.
team
So
ban.
yes, Abaddon's going to be a hero that can be in the front line and maybe tank ganks, be like a roaming ward, enable Mortimer kisses, but they still don't have like the easier time to control heroes. And so I think that's where we need to see like a stunning hero for 4-2-3.
Yeah, or do they just
10
Lesh again?
seconds remaining.
Like a bad Lesh isn't a bad lane, and it's
5
going to be a
seconds
decent way
remaining.
to
Radiant team ban.
at least deal damage to the Dark Willow. It continuously gives you like they've even got more Roche potential than last game now, and more tower taking potential with the just a single point in the Curse of Avernus. I wouldn't hate to see them go it. Um, Again, like it's for me, it's
10
all just
seconds
about
remaining.
taking attention away from the supports. I feel like that's the way that
5 seconds remaining.
maybe I'm biased because I'm a support player, but that's how Dota should be played right now. You want to feel like you've actually got five heroes in the game, not three and two heroes that just die in a couple of seconds. And I feel like if you pick three aggressive heroes that are supported by the support heroes, imagine that, then it actually does that. So yeah, I wouldn't hate the Leshrac. I like the fact that they banned out the Razor. Little surprised that they didn't go it last time around on Army Geniuses, to be perfectly honest. But this time around, it's definitely a formidable combination with the Jakiro, so you got to take that away from them.
So do you feel like Army Geniuses ban out the Leshrac? Like that's the hero you're like they could just go back into. So is that probably the next on the list to get rid of with the gyro?
Yeah, potentially. I
Dire
feel like
team
what did they
ban.
get rid of last time? Was it?
Puck. It was Puck. I think that was
It was a
mainly just to protect if the TA goes side lane and put the
Radiant
Puck in that
team
matchup
pick.
versus the Quap.
stealer, huh?
To again, I really think you need a stun. So we'll see if they're going to go down that route for 4-2-3. But again, if you've got an Abaddon position
10
5,
seconds remaining.
often you do like pairing melee with ranged. Going
5 seconds
TA and another
remaining.
ranged core though could be a little bit tricky.
Unless they did the TA safe lane with the Abaddon, which isn't bad. It's like it's not a kill lane, but you're just securing the TA's farm and allowing something a little bit different for the mid lane. As to what that different is, don't know.
Dire
Um,
team pick.
Wow. So they do go
Wasn't expecting that.
ranged. That's
It's a stun.
it is a stun as well. So again, they are. I mean, we're gonna see another pipe build from Snapfire. Like we honestly
Yeah,
might. Um,
I don't hate the pipe
10
this game.
seconds
Like
remaining.
it's good against all 4 heroes so far.
Choose your hero.
Okay, don't hate it. So 4-2-3 Vengeful Spirit, huh? New hero Pog champ. And yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. It's got an okay amount of kill threat in the lane now. With that minus armor, if Abaddon chooses to go a little bit more aggressively, particularly onto Naaman, you're able to take him out. Mars as well is a strength hero, so it doesn't have the strongest armor at level 1. So you can use that to bully him out a little bit more. I do prefer this mid lane to what we saw last game, and I prefer the Wraith King Jakiro as well a lot more than the Grimstroke Medusa. So I'll give them a decent chance, but again, they are still lacking that way to get it onto the backlines. For the Abaddon, it's not really a factor, just because he's going to be able to break out of anything anyway. But you got to kill Kishka. Like, you got to at least force a swap out onto a support as opposed to a core, you know?
I feel like Lilgun have a ridiculous amount of minus armor. We did see Kishka not really play into that, though. Like, again, no medallion, didn't really max out Lil Shredder, but there is still potential. Value point Lil Shredder's dope. You've got the Wave of Terror too, so it's going to be scary, and they don't really have an agi carry, which I guess Wraith King's okay. You're Phase Boots builder, Armlet as well. You're going to get a little bit of armor. You can itemize AC, but that's at a stage where Lilgun are going to control the map. And I'm going to ask you, do you feel like they have, because it's a very, very similar draft from Lilgun, so do you feel like Army Geniuses have done enough in the second draft to cover their flaws that they had in game 1?
Say yes, to be honest. Like, an Abaddon is very different from a Bane. You can't set up for kills as an Abaddon, which we saw multiple times happen with the Bane last game on Ace. This time around as well, I feel more confident with the mid lane. Are they going to look to block up?
Sorry, you better
run
start.
to 11 here.
Okay. He's gonna even make sure there's a little opportunity for escape. Instantly you're popping the Aphotic Shield. But it might be enough damage block to keep 11 alive. Oh, he's got that.
We got the dual breath.
And he's going to even Tango to make sure he keeps his life. Okay. Honestly, I'm like, that Aphotic Shield, what'd that do? It got pop instantly. Well, looked like it did enough to keep him alive.
They do still get the D-Ward up, though. I wonder if Sanctity's kind of preempted that a little bit and saying, hey, they're going to block this. I know it. And Lina is better than the Quap in lane against me. So I'm going to need to rotate back to the jungle at some stage. So I'm going to need this blocked up. Although Sanctity, he's not one of those super greedy mid players that needs absolutely everything provided to him. He'll buy his own sentry if he needs it.
Why do you feel like the Lina's a little bit better matchup against TA than the Quap? Okay.
Like, TA, just hover over the TA. Look at her attack range if you hover over a portrait.
Just watching Kishka almost die. Yeah, it's crap. It's not fun.
And then you compare that to the Lina, enormous. You know, you can very easily look to harass her out a little bit, particularly, you know, when those refraction charges are at low levels. It's only 3 instances at level 1, so it's really just about getting a commanding position out of those first few levels there.
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of Lina into TA, just because also the early Fury Soul is just exceptional for the attack speed, just to really get rid of the refraction. So I just wasn't sure, you know, if it was a bit better of a matchup than the Templar Assassin. In my opinion, like, I'd put it a little bit even, but how you're saying it, like, yeah, the attack range is something that Sanctity really has to be wary of. So, you know, we'll see how early he's going to end up falling back into the jungle. We'll see as well. I want to actually pay a little bit more attention to bottom. 4-2-3. It does already have the Aghanims queued up as well. I was kind of expecting this. Were you expecting the Aghs build as well from the Venge?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like that's why a big reason why you pick it. You're still able to get that experience in gold in that second life, and this to me feels like a 4 Protect 1 draft. You know, it's all around Sanctity this time around. It's not like last time where the Lesh was a pretty sizable component of why they won that game. This time around, Leshy's just there as a supporting cast.
We'll see if Venge is going to be able to provide that assistance to really enable Sanctity. definitely feels like his playstyle is starting to switch up from what we've seen. So again, that's really exciting stuff to see for Lilgun in general. And top lane 11, he was top of the net worth at a very early stage of game one. So how do you feel like this is going to fare though? It's a very different matchup than what we saw in the Medusa and the Grimstroke. Do you like the Wraith King Jakiro and what they can provide?
I think it's perfectly fine. You're able to provide a lot more consistent harass out with the Jakiro. You're not reliant on mana quite as much. Liquid Fire, obviously you're able to just spam that out every 20 seconds, which is quite nice. And again, when it gets to the later stages, Jakiro, he has good stat gain. So, 2.8 strength per level, pretty damn solid. You're not going to die instantly to the Spirit Breaker charge, which is always nice.
I'm still a bit concerned on how their armor is going to fare as the game goes on. And DB's even. We were speaking about the Soul Ring earlier with the Lina. It's another hero that I've been seeing go into the Soul Ring as the Wraith King. Even though he doesn't really have any matchups that are going to burn his mana. It's always nice to have that reassurance. Being a strength hero, so you're getting 6 damage, and armor in this matchup is definitely going to be something you need.
Varese has done a much better job this time around as well on the top side of the map. He made sure to body block the first few waves coming up to the top side, so they haven't had this medium camp spawn just yet. And he even waited until the very last second to place down that sentry ward to both block the camp as well as de-ward his own small camp. So if he wants to pull, he can. It's probably one of the best camps to do it as well. This ghost camp does a lot of damage, and you're able to deny away a lot of that experience.
So you're saying that he's really struggling mid at the moment. 16 and 8 compared to the 10 and 3. Like you're saying, this matchup's not the easiest at all.
The pings immediately come out as well. They've got the vision up on this high ground, so they could see that Kishka's doing a bit of stacking. Wonder if that might even make them get a little bit more aggressive here onto the Spirit Breaker, but instead they're just going to cut their losses and say, look, you know what? We're going to pull this away. We're going to make sure that 11's not able to farm. And I'm a little surprised that he didn't stick around a little bit more in next to that small camp, because he's only actually denied up 1 creep from this wave. So it'll actually end up doubling up and giving a lot more experience over to the Spirit Breaker than they might have liked.
I do like how we're already seeing a little bit more emphasis put on the Templar Assassin through the laning stage though. Because previously the stacks were not coming through at this stage in the game. Just the difference we're seeing, like you're saying, Lina matchup a little bit more favorable for Azura, so we've got to give some time for Sanctity to be able to get some love back in the jungle, but the one lane that is going well for Lilgun is bottom. It's even with the Mars and Venge, but 423 is still getting a lot of farm at the moment, with Treads now coming out on the corridor.
Yeah, for sure, but you can just see the big difference here with Varese. As soon as he hit up onto that level 3 as well, immediately making the rotation straight back to the lane, using dual breath, and it doubles the damage just from a single extra point into it. So quite deadly to be able to face up into that, even put a second point into the liquid fire to make sure that you've got that 5 fewer seconds before you can again, it's about the consistent harass, right? He's ferried a bunch of clarities, a bunch of mangoes to the lane. He just wants to make sure that this Spirit Breaker does not farm, because that was a damn early Shadowblade timing that we saw in the previous game.
Yeah, and it was a big issue for the lineup they had with how he was able to just start fights that much easier onto some of the squishier heroes, and it's still going to be the same as well. Like early on, like I know you're saying Jakiro's strength game is pretty solid, but still going to be a hero if you're able to get on top of him, can provide some issues. They have great abilities to kind of layer on the ground to make the entrance into the fight not as free.
It's quite nice against the TA as well, right? Like, not necessarily something that's going to be present in the laning stage, but so many ways pre-BKB to make sure that refraction just melts.
Kishka. Okay.
Nicely done, Varese. Get the deny off. But yeah, dual breath, liquid fire, macro pyre inside of a arena. TA is dead.
Did you get to see many core Jakiros in Eastern Europe?
I think I saw 1.
Dude, I've been seeing it a couple of times so far, and I don't know, the only game it won was off the back of an Aghanims on Jakiro and Puck. They turned it around like 15,000 deficit, and it made me look stupid. I was saying there's a 0 chance they come back in this game all of a sudden. Dude, 2 items just
You got to give it one.
Yeah,
you got to give it one.
I've got it. It's just, but I like that big call. It's like, you know, if I call it early, it feels good to know. And sometimes, you know, you're gonna make the mistake. It gives, you know, it gives people to laugh about. But definitely made me feel stupid. I'm like, okay, anytime I see a core Jakiro with a puck, I will bring up this Aghanim's potential. Late game, it's scary.
It was back at, like, I want to say the Chengdu Major. I mean, we're talking 4 years ago at this stage. The one that TNC won. And
Yep,
I remember it was like they won that tournament off the back of Morphling Spirit
Yeah.
Breaker. Let's not get it twisted.
Wait, Spirit Breaker or Earthshaker?
Ocean, sorry. And
Well, Sanctity actually might be in a bit of trouble. Refraction up in a couple of seconds. Playing around with the strength treads as well. Azura's going to be a bit cautious how far he sticks around here as the reinforcements are showing up. He's only going to be 11 to connect, and he's got the Nether Strike as well to bounce back to. Even the Trap Cell as well. So Naman's going to be slow on the retreat. All of a sudden, look at the 4 heroes of this truly is the 4 Protect 1 Operation Save Sanctity. Oh my.
I make no
Oh, he gets a DD as
If you got a
well.
good strat,
Radiant
yeah.
structures
If you got a good
are
strat, then he's certainly the
Dire's
type of
middle
person that you
tower
want to
is
be
under attack.
hitching your win condition to. Anyway, back to Chengdu Major.
Damn it.
I think it was
Dire's
Lacoste
structures
that
are
ended up saying, like, they were behind by, I want to say 34,000 net worth in a game. And they got
Dire's
that
middle
timing
tower
up with the
is under
Morphling
attack.
Earthshaker. And I think it was the first one that they did the entire game. And he's like,
Oh, hold that thought. Azura is still in trouble. And playing around with this DD early,
no.
that's going to be his second death in a row. So it doesn't matter how well this lane just went. And when we TP'd with Arena on cooldown. So what Deman's going to do to provide a double bash in a row from 11? Oh, Lilgun styling on Army Geniuses. It's just filthy, filthy stuff. And they're even going to chase on for more. Oh, what value got out of the DD? 3 kills, a tier 1 tower. Oh, life is good.
Dire's
you hate
bottom
to see it.
tower is under
You hate to
attack.
see a filthy TA
Radiant's
recover
top tower is
after
under
finally it has a bit of a rougher laning stage. But, well, that's the reality. Anyway, Lacoste, he basically said when they were 34k net worth behind, he's like, before they'd even taken a team fight, he's like, I think they've still got a very good chance in this game. I think they're going to win. And, you know, it's Lacoste. He might have been trolling, but they ended up absolutely dominating that game from that point onward.
The days of Morph Earthshaker. My god. I mean,
I'm glad they're gone.
we've seen a couple of iterations of it, but that was really the first of them. And oh, I remember
Radiant's
KP's
bottom
Veno as
tower
well.
is
That
under
was quite the
attack.
tournament for TNC. Quite the tournament for the SCA
Radiant
fans.
structures are
We will be
fortified.
reborn. Okay, there will come a day. Maybe with some of these new
Moving.
roster swaps. Oh. Oh, Azura. Not
Radiant's
again.
bottom tower
Should be
is
okay.
under
Okay,
attack.
something we didn't mention is the fact that
Dire's
Wraith King
top
did take
tower
it
is under
really early
attack.
tier 1 tower top. So he's already back down to the
Radiant's
bottom.
tower has fallen.
And taking another tower as DB's got Armlet, Soul Ring, and Boots completed. Really farm, but also gets through Eddie's 11 on top.
Radiant structures
Now
are
TA just
fortified.
jumps over, but another
Dire's
game
top
that 11
tower
is having a
is under
really
attack.
strong start.
This is a TA that hasn't taken any of her stacks as well, by the way.
How many has she got? Is
So-
it double? Oh, triple. What?
That's true.
Oh, is that a small black dragon?
Dire's top
I think there's only
tower
one
has
big boy in there. Oh, there's 2.
Two big boys, all right.
It's a fatty.
Oh,
About to be by the minute mark as well. All right, let's see how good you are,
Pain of
Sanctity. This surely doesn't get... No, okay, I was
No.
going to say. Let's really see how good you are. Oh my god. What a hero, man.
Dire's structures
Cool,
are
cool, cool. Well,
fortified.
again, they haven't
Very
really
balanced.
identified the Ancients issue.
let's take that away, Ice
Radiant's
Frog.
middle tower
We
is
still got
under
some time
attack.
before the patch.
Alright, well, another tower they're sieging early. They'll be making sure he holds some value points, or at least some points available for the reincarnation.
Actually. What do you got 2 points waiting there for, huh?
Just in case he misclicks one of them. Another thing is the Vengeance farm is also going relatively well. Like a hero that we can often see, we haven't seen in quite some time, but in the position 3 role, you could just be a bot for like the first 18 minutes, but Vengeance getting a decent amount of farm here, so it's going to come out a little bit faster than maybe what Dire are expecting.
I mean, it's a decent amount of farm. Maybe I'm just confused by the fact that, you know, she is sitting 4th on net worth, but that's just because 11 and Sanctity have an insane amount of farm right now. That it just doesn't look quite as impressive, but it's still some solid farm coming through from 4-2-3. He hasn't been involved in any kills, though, which is the downside to it.
Your game do something bad or just me?
Just you.
Oh, I'm frozen. Okay, now we're good.
Oh, well, excellent.
I'm frozen again. You're still in game, yeah?
I'm still in game.
Okay, well, I don't know what just... I
Do you need me to stream it on Discord or something?
I have to. I'm reconnecting now. Alright, you can do radio cast while we wait. Alright, we're back in.
There's nothing happening. Don't worry.
What do you mean? They're roashing.
Oh,
They have a
never
DD.
mind. There's a roast happening with a DD.
Oh my god, surely not. Another one. You brought it up last game. Like, what do you do to deal with the DD in front of Roche Pit? I don't know. Something has to happen.
Oh, they're drawing the line down into the Radiant jungle. They're like, oh, 13 minutes. Surely Roche can't be a factor. Well, it is.
Did they? I mean, you're the one in the game. You gotta call me out here. Did they smoke or not? Because I had a warden by the.
They smoked, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they got Shadowblade as well on Spirit Breaker. You're also 600 gold away from Ags. I think you actually might just use this to farm. Yeah, you're still waiting on Deso, so just wait a little bit, get those items. And that is kind of the one thing about. Oh, so no pipe? Come on, Kishka. What's going on?
Well, it's different this game, right? Last game, it was about the entire team running you over. This game is about Sanctity running you over.
They are starting to connect just in case a fight breaks out mid. Definitely, this is one thing about the ages being picked up a little bit earlier than last game, is that by the time you really want to fight, the timer will be probably down to like 2 minutes. You won't have like the full 5 to really work with, or maybe 4. It's minor issues, really not that big, but I'm gonna consider it for Lilgun when they're 6-0, 3,000 net worth at 14 minutes in.
And they are taking a long time to make a decision here, though, on Army Geniuses. Like, this is a Vengeful Spirit that was sitting in front of a tier 2 tower, farming a wave without any cares in the world.
Is this
a little bit concerning?
Is this maybe just a new team not having the shot caller at the moment? Like maybe
possibly.
Like Lim could have been that.
Yeah, I mean, Variz, Wami, and Narman, it feels like have just been standing around this area for the past minute or so. Eventually, we're going to get a TP back here. Are they going to smoke out with Lina? Doesn't seem like it. Again, they're just spending a lot of time standing around.
Oh, exactly
and this
right.
This is time that Lilgun want, right? If they can get up onto this Aghanim Scepter on the Vengeful Spirit, then they're happy to go because they've hit all of their other timings. You've got the Shadow Blade, you've got the Solar Crest, you've got the Blink Dagger. What else could you possibly want?
What do you feel like about this itemization from Wami? He's going straight BKB. Is he just thinking that, all right, we're just going to play off Lilgun starting the fight into us and we're going to be reactionary?
I'm not as concerned about the BKB this time around, though, right? Like, last game, it was pretty damn important because you were against a Leshrac and you were against a Snapfire. This time around, the Snapfire has gone... I don't know. Like, I just feel like it's not quite as important this time around, but, I mean, clearly it just felt like they never felt part of that previous game, really. And this time around, he's like, look, worst comes to worst, I'm going to be able to do something in a lot of these engagements.
Did he? Gonna be on the outskirts of the arena. 11 playing around with the status resistance, though, makes it so difficult to blow him up. Once they're able to line the ass path, though, Army Geniuses will take the first kill of the game, but it does cost them all 5 heroes to be in the area.
There's the Axe. Decent timing. Might have wanted it a little earlier.
They're gonna look to fight. Keep in mind, Arena's on cooldown, and I mean, Sanctity, he's just gonna look to target, prioritize the Mars, get rid of one of the easier heroes, but he's still gonna be cautious, because along with Dire, they're trying to get rid of the first life. Sanctity's still not dead yet. How is the Abaddon putting in so much work? to at least delay the first life, and now the swap back as well. I mean, Azura's trying to play on the outskirts here, but hasn't really been able to do too much damage. So Sanctity feels well and truly okay just to jump on forward and get rid of DB.
Exact way that you want to use that first Aegis, though. Like, put your body in there on the front lines. I was watching a Febby stream lately, and he's like, he was playing with a Naga, and he was like, use the body! Use the body the entire time. And it makes total sense, right? You've got an Abaddon to help you. You've got a Snapfire who, at the time, had the Mortimer's Kisses available, and you even have Avenge to be able to save you. Like, worst comes to worst, your team will back you up.
Mass TPs from Army Geniuses to keep this alive. Are they gonna get confirmation of the Jakiro? See if they look to stick around though from Lilgun. Don't have the greatest vision nearby. PA doesn't. Sorry, Templar Assassin doesn't really have the traps in the area.
Haven't really felt the impact of the Willow Mars combo yet either, right? Like, most of the time, that's the thing that we expect to see have a big effect, particularly for the early team fights where the BKBs aren't a factor yet. Maybe a little bit less so when you've got Avenge and Abaddon who are able to save from the Terrorize, but it is still, of course, such a scary prospect to have Arena into Terrorize, just dealing tons of damage basically to yourself, running into the walls over and over.
Alright, have you seen Wraith King's itemization?
Buddy, it's okay. I mean, I guess they just want another way to get through the TA. The blind is going to be quite nice against this 3 physical right-click lineup, I suppose.
Oh, 11. He's able to just get through the arena. And now Wami once again using this to no real avail of... He's gotten so lucky these past couple of games with his bashes. I feel like he's going to die anyway. You have full duration just to cancel it. But first hit bash, though, is just proving the position is in. Back on this Radiance, I don't know how much I like it. You are about to have Sacred Relic, but it feels like you're giving a lot of space over this game, and TA can probably just go BKB, and all of a sudden you already have ways to go through Refraction with the Jakiro. A little bit surprised.
Yeah, I think it's more about the blind, to be honest. And I mean, the Refraction impact helps for sure, but I just feel like they're just way... If you can, for example, avoid getting bashed by the Spirit Breaker because you get a miss, you know? It's such a big, relatively big impact.
Definitely not the first Aegis that we saw from Lilgun in game 1, though. They haven't taken all these outer towers, so still kind of waiting for that second timing, but they are definitely in a position to take fights. Swami frontline at the moment. I mean, Arena's still on cooldown for 15, so 423 is going to offer the swap back. It's a really good ice pot from the Jakiro, just at least thwarting this attempt from them being able to push on 4 for more, but now that 11's connected with the backline, trying to kite the Wraith King at the moment. They've still got to be cautious though, but the Zero having a free fight at the moment. They'll get rid of 11. Still Sanctity along with 423 looking for more. Sanctity just blows up Nam, and now they feel like they can dive underneath the T2 towers. Reincarnation's going to be popped. Can they take this second round? Looks like DB is going to be out. Without the Spirit Breaker to really gap close fast enough. I say that though, Sanctity, I mean, he's still playing around with the Blink. Zero, though, I don't think he can really stick his ground with the BKB already being used. He just has to leave the Wraith King and force him to sacrifice his life so he can get out.
423. I mean, I like the fact that they weren't focusing this Venge just because, you know, she gets stronger when she dies. Kind of stupid, but eventually, you know, she was the one hero in a position where you could finally get a kill. But ironically, that's what ends up killing the Wraith King there. You know, not having the swap would have meant that he is able to survive and fight another day. Yeah, it's an unfortunate position to be in if you're an Army Geniuses fan, because it just feels like Lilgun have outmaneuvered you once again.
Now, closing in on Radiance, just got the BKB on Wami as well. We're still yet to see this really team fight combo come into play. And it definitely feels like this game, Army Geniuses, Sanctity's got another DD, so Wami's instantly going to turn around and another defensive BKB, but that might not even be enough. Oh no. You go first item BKB and you use it and you still die.
Dire are scanning.
Yeah, it turns out DD right clicks don't care about your BKB. Oh, that's a
11?
deep
Radiant's
dive.
bottom tower is under attack.
That's the mental warfare right there. Next time, maybe we'll all jump. It does
You
feel...
did a pretty
bottom
decent high
tower
ground
is under
defense. though.
attack.
Maybe not so much with your Wraith King, but the other heroes all quite good.
Solid, yeah. And especially like if Lilgun take the fight, maybe dive a couple of heroes behind the tower, then Mars can jump, trap you in, and Dire will really play off the back of that. Like they kind of needed to play off the back of game one. Like Medusa's a hero that likes heroes heavily committing, and then as soon as you're in a position where you don't have much room to turn around into a Skadi, all of a sudden you have to stand your ground and fight, and doing that into a high ground position is not easy.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Ace's positioning. He knows. You know that they've dropped that observer ward down there as well. Do you reckon Skadi's the item here?
On who?
Azura?
I feel like it's like kind of what I just highlighted with the Medusa. Like you're just playing off Lilgun overcommitting, and Skadi makes it that much more easier. It's gonna make her a little bit more tanky as well, and she has been like playing the distance in the fights. It's very good versus two ranged heroes. We're gonna see Army Genius just smoke up, but look at the ward placement. So instantly, Wami's been scouted out. We're down to about 3/4 of health at the moment. Starting the fight on Venge is not really the ideal way to go, but now we'll see the terrorized combination come through. They'll get rid of the Vengeful Spirit, but of course he's still got the illusion to play around with. There's now 11 showing up with the BKB. They might end up losing the Venge still, but it's going to cost DB his first life, and with the backline Sanctity 11 causing so much havoc. They can try and turn to deal with DB afterwards. It's Marie's just a standing duck on the high ground too. No impact from the Jakiro. Now they've charged down the Dark Lure as well. 4 down, and it only cost them the Venge.
It's approaching GG territory. I mean, they're lucky enough that the Roshan is going to be spawning in the next 5 seconds or so. Sanctity continues the push into the mid lane, forcing them to perhaps stick around there a little bit longer. Any kind of movement out onto the map when you've got creeps hitting into your base, of course, very obvious with what's going on. It's a little bit early with the use of the glyph there as well. Didn't clip onto those lane creeps, so it meant that they were able to, again, instantly clear them out.
Every time I see Spirit Breaker, one hit creep waves. I said it last game, and still it's just... I just laugh at how freaking dumb this hero is. Like, how...
Another Quicksilver amulet as well,
oh
of
my
course.
God. I do kind of feel bad for Spirit Breaker, and also like T-Glove and any Spirit Breaker spammers. Like, he's gonna be nerfed into the ground. We are not gonna see him for another 2 years.
All right, let's go. Make a list of heroes that are going to be put into the bin.
Oh,
Conquer, Weaver, Bane,
OD.
Spirit Breaker, Mars, OD. They're
Maybe
my
not as
top-
Mars as much. In the bin, Mars, I reckon he would be put in the bin. I reckon the others I'd put there. There's just so many. You said Weaver, yeah? You had to say Weaver. There's no way you didn't.
Number 1, bro.
He was probably one, yeah. Oh, that hero. Oh, far out. It's... How far away are we now?
After the second set of thingos, so I think it was Feb 23rd.
Okay.
So that's 2.5 weeks away.
That is going to be quite a switch up.
I feel like that is like the patch as well, because most of the time, I don't know what you're expecting to happen here, Wami, but you're not going to win a team fight on your own. I'd say it's pretty rare that they'll put something like completely game-changing between Mages 2 and 3. Because that's not enough time for them to completely flesh things out and perfect and do all these things before TI.
So you feel like...
After the first and before the second, I feel like that's time to put a huge one out, and then maybe
no.
minor one.
Oh, what a hero! Charge on through 3 heroes. They don't even know where he is, so he's just giving them information. And DB's like, oh, okay, nice play from Narman. So DB gets out, but it's just the life of a support, as even Narman's out. Okay. So you feel like the next patch coming up is probably going to be the one where like the season's really determined. We'll probably get a couple of seasons off at the Mages as well.
I think so. I think like if there's going to be any kind of map changes, or
I hope so. Keep going, sorry.
probably between like seasons 2 and 3, we could probably see like new items added and that sort of stuff. That's not like that doesn't fundamentally change the way that Dota is played. But I feel like similar to adding outposts and backpack slots and neutral items, that's the sort of change that I'm talking about that I feel personally will happen between in 2.5 weeks. And if not, I'm going to be very disappointed because
Yeah.
patch day is like an analyst's Christmas morning.
I mean, it's got to be Purge's wet dream. Gosh, man, there's a couple of those boys that are, oof, patch day, give me all the viewers.
I just put that on and let it lull me to sleep once
Like,
it hits around the 12-hour mark.
every time I say, yeah, you know, try and watch a majority of them, and then it just gets to a couple hours, and I'm like, there's no chance I'm going through all these notes. Oh, poor DB. And he's still without his second item afterwards. Playmail's going to provide some assistance. They're still able to kill off the first life nonetheless. There's now 11
timing.
charging in, cancelling multiple heroes on the backline, getting rid of that ability factor to turn it back around. Oh, DV's going again.
Well, Sanctity hasn't died. Turns out you probably shouldn't let him have his TA.
I don't know how disheartened I want to get from this second game, but like,
They kind of did it to themselves, Army Genius.
Dire's
Yeah.
top tower is
You
under
had
attack.
opportunities to change things up a little bit, and I feel like Brood is
Dire's
incredibly
top
annoying to
tower
play
has
against.
fallen.
But I feel like you can let the Lycan through. There are ways to counter the Lycan.
they're all underneath 2 observer wards by the triangle. So 11's charged down Azura. Meanwhile, 4-2-3 is just dealing with Wummy. At least one person's going to make it away, but, you know, off to the southern side, because she's just trying to solo Narman. Is that Mortimer Kisses use? No, we're still on cooldown. I think you're exactly right. Like, they did it to themselves. It felt like if you're not going to ban it in the first phase, which fine, understandable, you need an answer to it. Like, you knew it was coming. And we saw their third pick, they used like 3/4 of their reserve time. So it just felt like they didn't take it into any consideration.
And Dire chose,
Dire's
Army
middle
Geniuses
tower
chose
has
second
fallen.
pick as
Yeah.
well. They had the opportunity to take this first phase TA away from them.
And well, not taking that tier away has
Dire's middle
cost them
barracks
a full set of
has fallen.
barracks mid. Aegis is about to tick out though.
Dire's middle barracks
So I don't know if
has
that's
fallen.
really going to stop Lilgun, but like, how do you feel about this late game? I don't know. Lane is here as well. Wraith King is super far behind. I mean, TA is on top of the
Dire's
net worth by
bottom tower
such a
is
long
under
shot.
attack.
To me, it feels like Azura doesn't do enough damage. Like, this is a very defensive build. BKB, Skadi. Skadi's nice at being able to stop some
this
of
is
the
it.
damage.
This is it,
he's
Danog.
doing.
I'm telling you, this is the last fight.
This is it.
Well-
But what if they win?
Okay, well, sure, if they win this fight, then it's not the last fight. But if they lose this fight, this is the last fight.
You gotta catch. Like, please go around. I mean, they made the smoke, but I guess they can't really afford to let him farm. But you're 200 gold away from Blink Dagger on Wommy. Surely you let him have that. They know he's there. The Radiance burn is showing.
DB's going to show now as well. I feel like you... Do they care about a T2 tower? Well, they even swapping away of, you know, potentially where the rest of Army Geniuses are positioned. Well, I mean, it's a decent arena, maybe providing them some assistance to the right side, but Azura's in the middle of the fight. Not where Alina's hoping to be at the moment, especially with the BKB on cooldown. So Sanctity punctures through the armor, gets rid of the health. Now they'll turn to the Mars as well, and well, calling that to be the last fight, and that it is. Lilgun wipe the floor. No contestation game 1, no contestation game 2. We were saying this was more than likely going to be a closer series than, you know, what it was on paper in our first, but that was just not the case. Lilgun, the better team today.
Yeah. Goes back to the draft again. First game, you can understand it. It's their first game as this this new roster with Narman being added instead of Lim. It didn't work out too well for them. You know, there were probably a couple of mistakes that they made in game number 1 that they were looking to rectify. I thought the laning setup was better for them in Army Geniuses this time around, but they just had so many issues that they didn't identify. And it all came back, again, to that first phase. It's pretty rare that you want to let up a In my opinion, I think second pick is better overall. Against Lilgun, first pick is better. You got to make sure you're getting out of that first phase without something that you're not unable to counter. Because we saw it 2 games in a row. Sanctity TA, get rid of the Ember Spirit, get rid of a lot of these other good mid laners like the Bat Rider, and then just set yourself up for success. If you have first pick, you have the last pick of the first phase. You dictate the way that the game is going to go, and sure, you give Lil Gun the ability to respond to that, but at least you're not getting cheesed, essentially.
We spoke a lot about how Army Geniuses kind of put themselves in the position for the draft, so I'm not going to continue to rehash that point. I will speak a little bit more about what it's going to look for Lilgun next against Polaris. I think that's going to be a much more difficult opponent than what we saw. My eyes are on how Polaris are able to utilize this series and set themselves up for the draft. Do you ban out the Templar Assassin? Firstly, do you continue to put priority on 4-2-3's cheese heroes with the Brood and the Lycan? If you leave the TA in the pool, how are you going to counter that? If you want first pick to maybe get forced on a Spirit Breaker, I think it's going to be completely different. Polaris have a lot of knowledge heading into that, and I don't think it's going to be as easy of a series. It definitely felt like you had to execute this draft, but we saw really no swap up from Army Geniuses. Luckily enough, though, they still have multiple chances here. So they're going to be going up against MY in the lower bracket round 1. So they have to win 2 series now for Army Geniuses to potentially qualify. It's not going to be an easy road.
No, for sure. And that's just one side of this phase 1 bracket, let's call it. Tomorrow we've got some more phase 1 first round games, let's call them. We've got Motivate Trust taking on Yangon Galacticos. A little bit of a new view of Motivate Trust as well. For those that haven't checked out the Liquipedia, make sure you do. Or if not, just tune in tomorrow and find out. And we've also got Team Orca. That is the rebranding of Ragdoll taking on Kobolds, the team that made it all the way to the end of the open qualifiers in every single one of those Season 1 open qualifiers. All 3. They made it to the grand finals and they lost all 3. So they're worthy of their opportunity to put themselves forward as a team to qualify into the Pro Series Phase 2. But time will tell. And I am keen because we will be casting those games as well.
Yes, we will. It's going to be some exciting matchups. Like you said, we get to see some rebranding from teams and also some new lineups as well. So it's going to be exciting. Dota 2 series tomorrow. Once again, we're going to be starting at the same time. So continuing on, it'll be day 2 for the BTS Pro Series 10 closed qualifiers. We'll see you all then.